one. I'm a healer who likes to think out loud. Here, we take thoughts in, we break them down, we build them up, and we play them out. Today, I want to talk about what it means to be a human. And that question is referring to, what is a human's instinct? What does a human, if you know what a human is, there's something that you expect about a human's character. What is the instinct of a human? Well, in order to answer that question, why don't we dive into characteristics of different types of personalities within a human, such as a god, such as a demon, such as a monster, such as an angel. And sometimes you get these representations of a humanoid-like being, but with powers and identities and characteristics that are very, the levels beyond what we know on this reality, on this plane of human existence, such as being able to fly. Like we're not Superman, but the best we can do is build an airplane, and by that we can fly. So let's touch on a few of those things, shall we? I'm going to start with the most interesting one, a god. You have people tempting other people by telling them, I'm a god, or you're God, or they're God, right? So we found a way through basic communication to tell someone else that I am God, or I am a God. But what does it even mean? We typically get this image of what God means, but we don't have a word for it. If someone was to describe to you, what do you think God is? They might refer to some literature, maybe that helps them assume specifically what a God might be. Most likely people are going to refer to the fact that a God is something beyond what a human is, but I will tell you here today, you'll hear it from me. A God is someone who loves you more than they love themselves. A God is one that loves you more than that God loves themselves. How about that for an instinct? Okay, so a God's instinct is to love you more than itself. That might suggest that God has enough love to go around for both you and them, or rather, it's focusing on you right now because on its own end it's good. Promise me it's good. So that's the instinct of a God, right? And that's the suggestion behind why a God might love you more than it loves itself, because it doesn't have any lack. There's no suggestion on its own part, and that's the reason why it's acting the way that it's acting. The reason why I'm even able to love you this hard is because I have this within myself. I do just fine. Moving on. How about a devil, even? I'll say that for this moment, a demon is a devil. They're the same, okay? So, what is a devil? You'll be surprised to know it's the very opposite of a god. A devil, a demon, hates you more than it hates itself. So now we have something in reverse here. It doesn't matter the intent, the motivation, the drive. It doesn't matter where this demon or this devil gets their drive from. The malice is there. There is no doubt. But they point none of it at themselves. There is no introspection. There is no self-reflection. None of that exists. Why? Because it has much more of a focus on having you do all of that with the intent to hurt you. Most likely it knows about all of the pain. Most likely that demon, that devil, or someone that you might call that name knows about that pain. Most likely. And yes, they would be able to relate to you and connect with you. The difference is they won't do it. They will purposely refuse to do it. All for the sake of hurting you specifically, on purpose. Let's try an angel. Let's jump back on to that other side, shall we? I'm not even going to call it positive or negative. There's no need. So an angel, and we're still on instincts here, so stick with me. But an angel is one that loves themselves more than they love you. An angel's instinct, an angel's nature is to love themselves more than they love you, right? An angel, they have this desire to retain and sustain their identity. They have this desire to protect and defend whatever it is that makes them what they are. That's why they're angels. So their first instinct is to make sure that they have wings. This is supposing that an angel is one that has wings in the first place. But if it loves itself more than it loves you, most likely it can take wing and it can fly somewhere that you won't ever be able to reach it. Right? If you relate this kind of personality or this characteristic, this kind of instinct to a human that appears to be an angel, they would be, right? They would have the means that you do not, and they would seem like an angel because whatever they're doing is always taking care of their own end first. That's the instinct. Let's jump on down to a monster. This one's interesting. This one is interesting. So a monster's instinct, what a monster is someone who hates themselves more than they hate you. Now this one is interesting because there's almost something redeemable about a monster in that they hate themselves. There is reflection. That's what that suggests. There is reflection with a monster. They have that introspection. They can see it, and that is why they hate themselves. They have a reason for why they are the way they are. They have a reason for being this monstrosity. They have a reason for their instincts and why they hate themselves and everything that follows after that. Whether or not there is malice, but in this case, you might go and suggest, no malice. It's understandable. And in the world today, this is probably the closest you can get to an experience with another human being. Most people have an instinct of a monster that is to hate themselves or to have contempt for themselves rather than to put it on you. But the damage is still done, however. And the funny thing about being a monster is that you can stop a monster in its tracks. You just have to appear to be the kind of person that knows what that monster is, or you know something that is much worse than a monster. Then a monster is going to be, first of all, surprised at the fact that you're not even shaking in your boots because it knows what it is, but you appear to be acting like it's something else. Finally, we come back to a human. So in between all of this, you have the God, you got a devil, you have a monster, you have an angel. But what do these things have to do with being a human? What could it possibly have a relation to? Well, it's all connected to an instinct. That's how we started this, right? So we're going to end it with this. So a human's instinct is going to be the instinct to study, an instinct to understand. There are certainly personalities and characteristics out there that humans can imitate, but that's the thing. A human has the ability to imitate characteristics of a god, of a demon, of an angel, of a monster. A human with an instinct to study understands that, first of all, there's a truth inside of the fact that a human is even able to call something a god or is able to call something a monster. And the truth about being able to call something what it is, to give it a label, means that it's within you. You must have known it from somewhere. There must be some kind of image that you have within you that allows you to recognize that something is an angel or a monster or something like that. Whether or not you've seen it at the movies, whether or not you read it in a book, the idea is that you have a concept within you that allows you to call something what it is and to frame it as such. So a human's instinct is to study the fact that they can see these things within themselves and that they represent themselves externally. So all in all, it's a human's instinct to ask why they even have an instinct in the first place. So to wrap this all up, that's what it's like to be a human. That's what it means to be a human. The instinct above all, above anything on this planet, is the fact that you are identifying with the very primal nature within you. Primal just being a priority, something of high importance. And for a human, which you and I are, that's to learn. So, I'm a healer who likes to think out loud. You heard it from me first. Enjoy your day.